It's time to talk about March reading plans. Getting into the groove of these monthly TBR videos is still kind of new for me. I talked about in February the reason I wanted to do more of these this year is so I can tell you about book club news, or when I have the 24-hour horror-a-thon, read-a-thon going on, to tell you about what's going on in any given month. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about these plans. I'm excited about my March reading, and I feel confident that I'm going to get to most of these books, if not all of them. Starting off with books I am for sure going to get to, we have book club books to talk about. First up, I'll talk about my book club pick for my own book club. I do have a members only book club. If you decide to join my channel membership at the highest tier, you will have access to that book club where we pick a book each month, we chat about it in our Discord, and at the end of the month we have a live show where we fully talk about the book. In March, our book club selection is going to be The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. This book is actually smaller than I anticipated it being. It's like a tiny little thing, so I feel like it'll be a good quick read. But this is supposed to be a book that has like some fantasy elements, maybe some horror or mystery elements as well. I'm not totally sure. I have not read from this author before. I'm not totally sure what to expect, but I always like a spookier book that has some fantasy elements in it as well, and this was what won our vote for March, so this is what we'll be reading. The synopsis says this is a sumptuous gothic infused story about a marriage that is unraveled by dark secrets, a friendship cursed to end in tragedy, and the danger of believing in fairy tales. You're following a woman named Indigo who learns that her estranged aunt is dying, and her husband are forced to return to her childhood home, the House of Dreams. Within the crumbling manor's extravagant rooms and musty halls lurks the shadow of another girl, Azur, Indigo's dearest childhood friend, who suddenly disappeared. As the house slowly reveals his wife's secrets, the bridegroom will be forced to choose between reality and fantasy, even if doing so threatens his marriage or his life. What really got me interested in this is the comp titles for this are Mexican Gothic and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I really enjoyed both of those books, so I feel like this will be a really good, lush Gothic story, and I'm excited to read it all together. Another book I'll be reading in March for a book club is The Drift by CJ Tudor, and I'm going to be reading this for my friend Elizabeth's book club. Her channel is Reading Riley. I will have that link down below so you can check it out and go subscribe. She started a book club this year called the Midnight Society Book Club, and we're going to be reading this together in March for the book club. We both really like CJ Tudor, so I think this is going to be really fun to read together, and I'm really hoping that we both love it. I've never disliked a CJ Tudor book. They've always been at least 3-star and above, so I feel like I've got a pretty good track record. I feel like it's going to be a good one. I don't know a lot about what this story is supposed to be about. I think you're following a couple different POVs, and I think this is a little bit apocalyptic as well, which doesn't surprise me because CJ Tudor's latest release that came out was A Sliver of Darkness, which was a short story collection, and a lot of those had apocalyptic themes in them as well. So when I saw that was going to be a part of this book, I can see how she kind of got to the headspace to write a type of book like this. I'm completely avoiding reviews. I don't want to hear anything about it. I just want to go in and have a really good time, and I'm super excited to read it, and I hope you'll join us and read it along with us. You can make sure to subscribe to her channel so that you can see the announcement for when the live show is going to be, so you can make sure that you don't miss that as well, and I am really looking forward to it. If you've been following along on my channel recently, you know I'm getting through a lot of arcs right now, and I'm still trying to catch up on those in March. There's a couple that I was supposed to read in February that I didn't get around to because February is just a little bit of a shorter month, so I didn't get to everything I wanted to. So I have a couple that are carrying over into March, and then a whole new batch that I'm trying to read in March for books that are coming out in April. For the books that are carryovers from February, first we have What Have We Done by Alex Finlay. I talked about it in my February TBR, so I won't talk about it too long here, but the synopsis of this, it's supposed to be a mystery thriller that follows a stay-at-home mom with a past, a has-been rock star with a habit, a reality TV producer with a debt, 3 disparate lives, 1 deadly secret. And then the other carryover from February is Unnatural Ends by Christopher Huang, which again, I've talked a lot about this one. I'm super excited for it. This is a murder mystery where this guy gets murdered with a medieval mace, and his children all come back to the house afterwards to deal with the estate. But there is this weird element where in order to claim the inheritance, they have to solve his murder, and whoever solves his murder is going to claim the inheritance. So it sounds really fun. I just haven't gotten around to it quite yet. Now going into books that are coming out in April that I have arcs of that I really want to get to in March. March, the first one is The Marigold by Andrew F. Sullivan. And this is said to be a horror book with sci-fi elements in it, which sounds like something I'm either really gonna love or maybe won't quite be my thing, but I do want to give it a try. This book is set in a near future Toronto, buffeted by environmental chaos and unfettered development, where an unsettling new life form begins to grow beneath the surface, feeding off the past. The Marigold, a gleaming Toronto condo tower, sits a half-empty promise, a stack of scuffed rental suites and undelivered amenities that crumbles around its residents as a mysterious sludge spreads slowly through it. Public Health Inspector Kathy Jin investigates this toxic mold as it infests the city's infrastructure, rotting it from within, while Sam Soda Dalapajic stumbles onto a dangerous cache of data while cruising the streets in his Camry, waiting for his next rideshare alert. On the outskirts of downtown, 13-year-old Henrietta Breaks chases a friend deep underground after he's snatched into a sinkhole by a creature from below. All the while, construction of the city's newest luxury tower, Marigold 2, has stalled. Stanley Marigold, the struggling son of the legendary developer behind this project, decides he must tap into a hidden reserve of old power to make his dream a reality, one with a human cost. Weaving together disparate storylines and tapping into the realms of body horror, urban dystopia, and eco-fiction, The Marigold explores the precarity of community and the fragile designs that bind us together. I feel like that was a super wordy synopsis to read, so if that's any indication of the writing style of the book, getting a little bit worried. But the concept sounds really interesting, and it sounds like something I'd be in the mood for right now, particularly because I'm watching the show The Last of Us right now, which is also kind of, I mean, not quite the same, but sounds a little bit similar with like the world and disaster and living underground and different storylines, and I don't know, maybe it'll be something that surprises me and I really enjoy it. Next up is The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. I read my first Sally Hepworth book not too long ago when I read The Good Sister, and I really enjoyed that, so I'm really excited to read something else from Sally Hepworth. Goodreads says this originally was published in October of 2022, so I don't know if that was originally published in a different country then, and this is when the US edition is coming out, or if that was the hardcover and now the paperback's coming out. All I know is I have an arc on NetGalley that says it's coming out in April, so whatever's coming out, I'm excited to read it. This is said to be a thrilling, addictive novel about marriage, betrayal, and the secrets that push us to the edge. There's a cottage on a cliff, Gabe and Pippa's dream home in a sleepy coastal town, but their perfect house hides something sinister. Tall cliffs have become a popular spot for people to end their lives. Night after night, Gabe comes to their rescue, literally talking them off the ledge until he doesn't. When Pippa discovers Gabe knew the victim, the questions spiral. Did the victim jump? Was she pushed? And would Gabe, the love of Pippa's life, her soulmate, lie? As the perfect facade of their marriage begins to crack, the deepest and darkest secrets begin to unravel. This concept sounds really interesting to me. I know I loved a book from Sally Hepworth before, so I'm very excited for this one. Next up, coming out on April 18th, is The Haunting of Alejandra by V. Castro. I've never read from this author before, but I've heard really good things about their writing, and the cover of this one's beautiful and it sounds really interesting. The tagline for this book is, "A woman is haunted by the Mexican folk demon La Llorona as she unravels the dark secrets of her family history in this ravishing and provocative horror novel." Alejandra no longer knows who she is. To her husband, she is a wife, and to her children, a mother. To her own adoptive mother, she is a daughter, but they cannot see who Alejandra has become, a woman struggling with a darkness that threatens to consume her. Nor can they see what Alejandra sees. In times of despair, a ghostly vision appears to her, the apparition of a crying woman in a ragged white gown. When Alejandra visits a therapist, she begins exploring her family's history, starting with her biological mother she never knew. As she goes deeper into the lives of the women in her family, she learns that heartbreak and tragedy are not the only things she has in common with her ancestors, because the crying woman was with them too. She is La Llorona, the vengeful and murderous mother of Mexican legend, and she will not leave until Alejandra follows her mother, her grandmother, and all the women who came before her into the darkness. But Alejandra has inherited more than just pain. She has inherited the strength and the courage of her foremothers, and she will have to summon everything they have given her to banish La Llorona forever. I know there was a movie that came out a couple years ago about La Llorona. I never watched that, I don't believe, but maybe that would be fun to read this and watch that movie around the same time. That could be a fun thing to do. Next up, coming out on April 25th, is We Love to Entertain by Sarah Strohmeyer. This is a fast-paced, riveting psychological thriller that skewers our modern obsession with home renovation and fixer-uppers. Holly and Robert Barron are attractive young real estate investors and contestants in a competition run by To the Manor Build, the nation's most popular home renovation app. With millions in product endorsements and online followers at stake, they're rehabbing a Vermont home they scored at a bargain price into a chic hilltop estate, ideal for entertaining. It's all camera-ready laughs and debates over herringbone tile until Holly and Robert go missing hours after their picture-perfect wedding, leaving behind a bloody trail. Suspicion falls quickly on Erica Turnbull, the Baron's 20-something assistant, eager, efficient, and secretly in love with Robert. Did Erica let her misguided passion turn her into a murderer? So claim the townsfolk of Snowdon, Vermont, who still haven't forgiven her for a tragic accident back in high school. But Erica's mother, Kim, is not about to let small-town gossip and a cop with an axe to grind destroy her daughter again. With time running out and their own lives at risk, the mother-daughter duo set out to find what really happened to the Barons. First, though, they'll have to confront the vengeful former owner of Holly and Robert's estate, ruthless reality show producers, and a secret that might bring their own house down. And the last arc I have is for a book coming out April 25th, which is In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. I have read 2 books from TJ Klune before. I read The House of the Cerulean Sea and whatever the other one was. The name is escaping me, but it also had a similar whimsicalness. Under the Whispering Door, that is what it was called. I really enjoyed both of those. I absolutely love the Cerulean Sea book. That was a 5-star. Under the Whispering Door, I believe, was a 4-star for me. TJ Klune just has a really wonderful writing style, writes really whimsical, heartwarming books, and I'm just excited to check out another one. This one, I believe, has some Pinocchio inspiration. It says, in a strange little home built into the branches of a grove of trees live 3 robots, fatherly inventor android Giovanni Lawson, a pleasantly sadistic nurse machine, and a small vacuum desperate for love and attention. Victor Lawson, a human, lives there too. They're a family, hidden and safe. The day Vic salvages and repairs an unfamiliar android labeled Hap, he learns of a shared dark past between Hap and Geo, a past spent hunting humans. When Hap unwittingly alerts robots from Geo's former life to their whereabouts, the family is no longer hidden and safe. Geo is captured and taken back to his old laboratory in the city of Electric Dreams. So together, the rest of Vic's assembled family must journey across an unforgiving and otherworldly country to rescue Geo from decommission, or worse, reprogramming. Along the way to save Geo, amid conflicted feelings of betrayal and affection for Hap, Vic must decide for himself, can he accept love with strings attached? I'm thinking of ways to try to do reading vlogs featuring some of these arcs in different ways. I did do 2 reading vlogs in February where I was reading arcs, and I want to do it again in February, but maybe put a different spin on it. I have a couple ideas, but if there's anything on your mind for ways that I could feature these books together, definitely let me know down in the comments below which ones you would like to see in reading vlogs and any fun ideas for how to read them and make it a little bit different. Then I have 4 other books on my radar for March, 3 of which I have already talked about because I was hoping to read them in February, but I did not get around to them. First is Sign Here by Claudia Lux, which is about a guy who is working in hell and trying to get people to go to hell. I actually started this book in February and I was listening to it on audiobook, but I loved it so much that I wanted to read the physical copy as well, and I just didn't have time to sit down with the physical copy with everything else that I was reading, but I know I will for sure be getting to this in March because I was having so much fun with it. Then we have A History of Fear by Luc Dumas, which is about a guy who kills someone and claims the devil made him do it. And Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield, which is about these 2 wives and one who returns after a deep sea mission and she is no longer the same. I keep talking about these in TBRs. I really want to get to them. These arcs, I'm just trying to catch up on all these arcs before they come out, so I haven't been able to read as many books off of my physical TBR yet, but I really want to get to those in March. And then the last book I have is Hex by Jenny Fagan, which I know absolutely nothing about. This book came into my life in a very funny way. About a week ago, my friend Hannah from the channel Hannah's Recent Reads messaged me and was like, have you heard of this book? And I was like, nope, never heard of it. Didn't know where she was going with that conversation, but she said it was incredible. She said she was certain that I was going to love it, and she asked me to add it to my wish list so she could get it for me. And I just trusted her fully. I said, great, I don't need to know anything about the book. If you're certain I'll love it, then I fully trust you, and it is now in my life. So thank you, Hannah, for sending me this book and for bringing it to my attention, and I'm sure I'm gonna love it. If Hannah says I'm gonna love it, I'm gonna love it. And it's really tiny. So I will definitely be getting to this one in March, and we will see. I know nothing about it. I'm not gonna read the synopsis. I'm just gonna go into it and we're probably gonna have a great time. So that is it for all of my reading plans for the month of March. Let me know down in the comments below if you're gonna be joining me for any of the book clubs, whether my own or Elizabeth's book club. Also let me know which of the arcs you're most excited to see, if you'd like to see them in reading vlogs, any fun ways to see them in reading vlogs, and let me know what you're most excited to read in March. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!